Welcome to another episode of GQ Speaks, your go-to platform for insightful conversations, captivating stories, and thought-provoking discussions. GQ is a series of experiences, and we're just making sense of that as we go along. That is what we're doing here, one conversation at a time. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into our episode.
Hi everyone, welcome to GQ Speaks podcast. I'm your host, Shahd El-Said, and today we have a very special episode dedicated to one of the most special occasions in the Islamic calendar, Eid. Whether it's Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of Ramadan, or Eid al-Adha, commemorating the sacrifice of Prophet Ibrahim, Eid is a time of joy, reflection, and community. But have you ever wondered how people in different countries celebrate Eid? Well, today we'll be taking a journey across the world, speaking to guests from different places to learn about their unique Eid traditions.
Hello everyone, my name is Shyryn and I'm from Kazakhstan, and currently I'm a sophomore pursuing international politics in Georgetown.
Hi everyone, my name is Ranneme Abu-Hajar. I'm Palestinian American from California.
Hi everyone, my name is Adeena. I'm a sophomore studying IPOL at GUQ and I'm originally from Bangladesh.
And the host is Egyptian. Okay, so can you guys walk us through how do you guys usually prepare for Eid, pre-Eid? How do you usually prepare for it in your country?
Okay, so usually I spend my Eid in Bangladesh with my grandparents, and the night before it's always very chaotic. I think everyone can kind of relate to that. I'm always in the kitchen helping my mom or my grandma cook. We're celebrating by decorating our houses and things with different Eid decorations. And then also we're attempting to put henna on each other, and it's always ending up really badly because we don't know how to do henna, but it's just the Eid tradition. But yeah.
And for me personally, growing up, we never really prepared our house because usually a very Arab American thing is to usually just go out. So literally on the, we don't usually, our prep is usually to buy clothes. It's just spending literally the night before Eid going to the mall and stress shopping for dresses. That's usually the pre-Eid preparation.
We don't usually observe this kind of traditions, and pre-Eid preparation varies due to families. Some families can prepare really they can prepare so good, they can celebrate it, they can decorate their houses. However, some families who don't fast, who are non-Muslims, they cannot prepare, they don't even know what Eid al-Fitr means. So that really varies.
I think in Egypt it's the same. It's Ranneme, we don't prepare our house and we don't do anything, no decorations, nothing. That's just for Ramadan. But we do go and buy new clothes, our Eid clothes, and we go out. Usually it's the day before, we go to the salon, we get our hair done, nails done, and then the next day we just go out. Literally, it could be anywhere, to a park or anywhere. But
yeah,
al-Muhim, we're out with our new clothes. And also, pre-Eid preparations in Egypt, we do kahk. So it's the Eid cookies. Do you guys know that?
Yeah, the little baskets.
Yeah, so we make we start, I think 2 days in advance because it takes such a long time. And then usually a lot of people just buy them. In my household, my mom makes them. Me and my mom, we sit down and we make them and we decorate them. And it takes maybe a whole day to make a lot of batches of cookies. But speaking of the food, what special foods do you guys eat during Eid? Is there anything in specific that you eat during Eid that you don't usually eat the rest of the year?
So during Ramadan, it's all homemade food. So we don't go out at all at restaurants. My mom meal preps gobbe and waranab and fatayr. She makes batches of them and freezes them so we can use them throughout Ramadan. So there's no eating out. You either eat at someone's house, the masjid, or at home. And so finally, when it's the day of Eid, it's after speaking to other Arab Americans, I realized it's not just a California or my family doing this. Apparently this is an Arab American thing in general, I feel the morning of Eid, we go pray and then we go to IHOP like if you go to an IHOP on the day of Eid, you will see Muslims everywhere. It's just a very normal thing. So yeah, we go IHOP, and then on that, and then just depends like on everyone has different Eid plans. Some people, if you have young children, you go to we have this place called John's Incredible Pizza or Chuck E. Cheese. Like it's just very American, like chain stuff. Not everyone does this, or people have. That's only if you have like children. But if you're grown up, you go to like your aunt's or your uncle's house, and just chill with your cousins.
Mine is kind of the same. We don't usually eat at home, but we go to other people's houses and eat, and like the food is always amazing. But one thing that like I grew up personally, it's basically a dessert, but we eat it for breakfast on Eid. It's called shemai, and it's like vermicelli, like little sweet spaghetti things, and then we basically make it with milk and sugar and like little like raisins. It's so good.
We actually make it in Egypt.
Yeah, I see.
So good. We call it shariya b'laban.
Yeah, it's very similar, I can imagine, but you eat it with bread and it's the best thing ever, but we only get it on Eid, so yeah.
So in Kazakhstan, like as a culture, both consist of Muslims and as inheritance of like nomad traditions, we try to make some Kazakh food. So according to my memory, for the last like 5-7 years when I was like older, Ramadan has always been in spring or at the end of winter. So every time I remember it is all the time near Nowruz, which is the new year in Kazakhstan. So it means the beginning of spring, and during that time every family always cooks like the horse meat for the entire family, and the family of like we can invite like families of 5 and 6 like inside the same family. So yes, this is the perfect time for us to share some food and to connect to our relatives.
You guys kind of touched up upon this, but I want to know specifically, are there any like national or public celebrations like parades or festivals for Eid that happen in your country?
Personally, for me, like in terms of national, no. We don't even have like a holiday. Like we don't get like you don't have a holiday. So yeah, there's no national celebration in the States for Eid.
I would say the same thing for Kazakhstan. Like country on the official level doesn't celebrate the Eid holidays.
I think in Bangladesh there's not really a parade, but everyone's obviously out on the streets, everyone's celebrating, everyone's wearing their nice clothes. But in Saudi, because that's where I grew up for most of my life, there is always celebrations on the road. Like everyone is in their cars, and like if you go out on the street, like on the highways and stuff during the morning, everyone is like outside their windows, like yelling from the cars, so it's cute. I don't know if it's like a Eid parade, but it's just like the vibe of Eid and like celebratory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I spent one of my Eids in Surya in 2010. It was right before the war started, and it was the same vibe. Like everyone was out on the street. We were making mamul because the place where my family was from was like, it's a Palestinian community there, so we'd make mamul and people would be out in the streets, so it was a really nice vibe.
In Egypt, like you guys said, it's very similar. We first go to Eid prayer, and then after Eid prayer, usually all the kids gather around. This is very specific. I remember I was in Egypt for like I think only like one Eid, and we have this tradition where we get fireworks post Eid prayer, and we just throw them on kids.
Yeah, and see. I didn't want to say that, but yeah, same thing with me.
We call it bomb in Egypt, and we just throw it at each other.
Yeah.
I don't even think we have a name. We just throw fireworks at little kids. It's so funny.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna mention that, but I wasn't sure. But yeah.
Okay. Do you think Eid changed? Like Eid traditions changed from when you were younger to now?
For me personally, yeah. Growing up in the States, like I said before, is like if you have children, you go to like a place, an arcade with pizza. You take your children there. But as I've grown older, and obviously like the generation of family friends that I grew up with as we got older, we all just started doing our own thing. And I feel like we either have azumis at people's houses, or particularly for my family, we'll go to the beach and like we'll go like dolphin watching while eating sandwiches.
That's so cute.
That's like a personal family tradition of mine. We'll just go like, well, we pay for whale watching. We don't see whales, but we see dolphins. And it's just like a nice day on the beach eating sandwiches. And it's just a very intimate family celebration.
Yeah, I think same. In Bangladesh, actually, it's pretty much always the same because there's always like relatives and like random family friends around. So you still get that community vibe. But in Saudi, I noticed like as I grew older, because I've lived there for like 8 years. So at first, again, you have like all your friends and like you guys grow up together. So there's a very like community vibe. Like everyone's together. You're going from house to house to house. You're getting your money, things like that. But as I've grown older, honestly, it's not the same because everyone is gone. You kind of just like spend it with your family and then you guys just go sleep. So. Yeah.
So as for Kazakhstan, I don't quite remember my childhood memories because I think it wasn't that valid and that prevalent throughout Kazakhstan. But however, like for the past 5 years, I remember how my mom would cook. Even in the family or the bigger family, my mom would cook in the mornings the shirpek, which is the Kazakh national food. This is basically a dough. So we would eat it, and after that, we would celebrate it in our way. But I think it became more popular for the past years than it was before in Kazakhstan. And the amount of Muslims who are praying, who are fasting has really increased.
I think I can't really talk about Egypt when it comes to this question, but for celebrating Eid in Qatar, I feel like it's been very different from when I was younger to now, because I feel like not as many people celebrate. Like I stopped getting new clothes for Eid gradually. People stopped going out. I stopped like doing anything for Eid. Like even my friends who I used to celebrate with when I was younger stopped. I remember our compound, we would like all come together and like book a hall, and we'd always celebrate and get kahk and cake and stuff. But we completely stopped doing that. Hatta I feel like Ramadan vibes completely changed throughout years.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not, at least personally for me, but what I also got from you guys is that it's not much of as like a community experience anymore.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, obviously when you're a kid, these holidays feel so precious because you're still so young and you just see like the cute side of it. You get your gifts, you dress up, you eat, you play with your friends. And then as you get older, it just, I don't know, personally for me, like I don't feel that Eid is as special as it used to be.
Yeah, 100%.
So sad.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, if not, I don't want to get this sad.
As a child who hasn't celebrated Eid this much, now I envy a little bit that as a child I'd like really to practice how to get like this kind of dresses and to celebrate Eid like as a community. So I think this is an experience that I'd like to experience as a child, but which I hadn't.
Okay. Do you guys celebrate Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha differently? Like how do the celebrations differ in your household?
I think for us, it's big Eid and small Eid, right? So like obviously the big one is Eid al-Fitr, and I think we do celebrate Eid al-Adha, but it's much more like low key because again, like Eid al-Fitr, it's more hype around it. Everyone is celebrating that, everyone is out, and then Eid al-Adha is just like okay, like a new cause for celebration, but it's not as big.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like Eid al-Fitr, it's like we fasted for 30 days and now it's like a reward. So everyone's just so excited to get to that day. Whereas Eid al-Adha can be a bit like, it's the same thing Adeena said, it doesn't feel as special as Eid al-Fitr. Like we don't do as much, we don't shop from, it's just another day. We'll fast like 2 days before it, right? But like compared to 30 days, we don't really have a difference in our celebration.
As I told before, we barely celebrate Eid al-Fitr, so Eid al-Adha is very like non-prevalent like celebration in our country. However, in Eid al-Fitr, so after 30 days of prayer, as Reem said, we just got time to reflect on our experience and to maybe connect with each other, not during iftar time, but anytime during the day. And this is actually a good experience. And so the memory is fresh, and we still got time like to reflect on our experience during Ramadan. And I believe like Eid al-Fitr is like better equipped, or like we do remember all. Like during Eid al-Fitr, we do remember everything that we had during the month better.
I think in Egypt, the celebration is the exact same because we also go all out for Eid al-Adha. We don't do the whole like getting ready and like getting our hair done, nails done, and everything like that. But we usually get a cow, in our backyard, and we kill it there, and then
In your backyard?
in our backyard,
Oh,
yeah.
Actually, the same in Kazakhstan about sheep. Like we take the huge sheep in the backyard of a car. My father usually does the sacrifice thing. We give the food and the meat to people who need it.
Yeah, it's the same thing for us. We do that in Egypt, and we did it once here in Qatar. Like we got a cow. And it actually ran away. It ran away and we had to chase after him out of the compound. Yeah.
I don't know, go to like a separate farm. Like for us, like my dad goes to like a separate farm and he kills it there and then he comes back with like the meat.
No, we usually do it
Just right there,
right there. Yeah, and so in Egypt we all gather and we sacrifice, obviously, and then we give it out to our families and also our friends, and obviously a portion of it has to go to the people in need. So I think that's like a very huge celebration. So I think it's like equal. Okay, if you guys could do one thing differently in Eid, like another tradition from another country that you would like to adopt and do in your country or your celebrations.
Honestly, the IHOP sounds pretty great. I let you up. That's not really a cultural thing. I think I really like what you guys were saying about like the making mamul and the making nak.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so cute because you're like sitting, because I do that with my mom, but it's just like we're cooking for the family and she's yelling at me and I'm like trying to like slave away at the kitchen. So I feel like that's like a cute activity to do together.
I'd really like to get new dress for Eid. Because I feel like it's my, it's the thing that I'd love to get as a child. And I really, for example, when I moved here to Qatar, which is a Muslim country, like 2 years ago, I've experienced like the spirit of Ramadan, the spirit of Eid, I love the way people like they cherish and they really like connect this kind of connections between each other during this month. And I love the way they decorate everything, they celebrate this holiday. And I wish Kazakhstan would do the same. Just, I wouldn't say this is like, in order to make the religion or everything like, very like in order to make the religion bigger. However, I think it's more like to connect people so that we gave like more attention to those things that Ramadan teaches us.
Personally, for me, there isn't much I would change except having more of the community practices. Because it's like what you said in Egypt, like you guys just go out. And I know like during Ramadan we cook and we cook and we cook, right? So we're exhausted. But like, and I know every family is different, but I think in my experience, at least in the States, I wish there was more of like at least in my experience, like I said before, a more family communal aspect where like everyone goes to like that one designated person's house, which I know some people have, but it's not as common in the States, you know? And then just like if, like, I don't know, there isn't much I would change. We do have communal aspects like making mamoon and going to like your teta and Sido's house, but I don't know, even if we compare it to like Christmas and the excessiveness of gifts, growing up as a kid, I was so jealous of it. Like being that one Muslim kid in like a room of kids who would talk about what they got on Christmas or Easter. Like obviously like I just wish that like, oh, I wish I got, you know, like in the iPad or new clothes. But honestly, like now that I've grown up, like I'm so glad because I feel like that's like the only worth you attach to the holiday. Do you get what I mean? Like the material gifts you get. So I actually like Eid, even though we do go out, there's still a community aspect to it. So there isn't much I would change about my experience with Eid, honestly.
Yeah, I think me neither. I think I really wouldn't change anything. Like I feel like we do kind of everything. So
yeah.
Okay, speaking of Christmas, this is a bit of a controversial question. How do you guys feel about the difference between the commercialization between Eid and like other religions occasions like Christmas? Like, you know how we see a lot of Muslims now celebrating Christmas and New Year's as well.
I think it depends on how you value the celebration or the holiday, because I know even for a lot of Christians, for example, I've heard this criticism about Christmas or Easter or even Halloween, but I feel like that's less religious. But with Easter and Christmas, for example, I know a lot of people have complained about it's being very commercialized. It's not, you don't necessarily celebrate it for the intention that the holiday is meant to be for, not for the religious aspects behind it, but rather it's just like an excuse to buy gifts and like dress nice and things like that. So I think in that aspect, I don't necessarily think that Eid should be more commercialized. I mean, obviously it is to an extent, but it's not as commercialized as Christmas or Halloween or Easter. But I do think that also takes away from some of the aspect of like how celebrated or how much people look forward to it. In general, I think we see, especially in like modern day society, more, you don't really see people being like, oh my God, like Eid, like, yeah, I'm so excited for it, as they do with Christmas or Halloween. And we see even Muslims like today celebrating Christmas, Halloween. Obviously, that's up to you. That's your choice. But I think there is something to be said about that.
I don't know. For me, it's obviously your intention behind it. I honestly think some people are just bored and they just like want to get in on like the mainstream culture of like celebrating Christmas and Halloween. It's, at the end of the day, I don't think Eid should be as commercialized. I feel like that takes away the entire meaning of what Eid should be, which is you fast for 30 days and this is a day for you to kind of also like, the whole point of like Ramadan in itself is to detach you away from worldly like pleasures. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So when like, and I feel like Christmas is like the complete opposite of that. Like you're rewarding people with like material gifts that are like not going to bring you sustainable long-term happiness. What is, it's like scientifically proven, is community. And I feel like Eid is all about that. So I feel like we should completely, obviously gifts here and there, dressing up is cute, but the heavy commercialization, absolutely not. I feel like that will like ruin like the specialness of Eid. Because at the end of the day, you can get as many gifts as you want. But the last thing, the one thing that will actually truly bring you happiness is seeing your grandparents, your family, your friends, like, that's what's going to bring you happiness long term. And this whole commercialization is just a way for companies to make money and for people to get temporary happiness.
Yeah, I completely agree. Eid should not be commercialized because, yeah, it's the spirit of the people. It's our intentions and how we are like. This not what gifts to get and what kind of like financial gain to get, but it's more about the person's like initiative and our own intentions to connect with your family or to just to become a better person. So I think that's the main point of it, rather than buying gifts and spending all of our money. However, I still want to dress as a child.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with all of you. And speaking of that, what, in like a more Islamic and like spiritual way, what does Eid teach you personally about like, you know, because it's about gratitude and giving?
I think Eid, because Eid is like that one day right after Ramadan where you can eat and have everything that you want to eat that you couldn't eat during the days of Ramadan. And I think Eid just shows like, once you finally do get access back to like, not access, but you can finally like eat food in the day, you realize that you didn't really need it to like, do you get what I mean? Like you just need the very bare minimum to be happy.
Yeah.
It's like when we break our fast and we have a date, water, and we're full.
Yeah.
You know, like it just shows that we don't need that much to be satisfied. So I feel like that's like and also like, again, it's the community aspect. It's like, it reminds me of that specialness of like Islam in itself, of having that we are all in this collective like journey together. And so finally when we come together to celebrate it, I don't know, just it feels very, I feel like that's what matters the most. Like not having to have the most to feel satisfied. Because at the end of the day, like it's just having the bare minimum and then having that community is what's going to fulfill you.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ramadan as well. I mean, obviously it's not just about like abstaining from food and water, but it's also about like having that self-control and that like you don't lie, you don't like, you try your best not to gossip, things like that. Like you don't speak bad about others. And so I think throughout the 30 days, you gain this self-control and you gain this like idea where like, oh, maybe I can do this. Like maybe I can abstain from like certain bad behaviors or bad habits for 30 days. And then Eid, like, I think part of the significance of the day is you have, again, like you kind of have access to all of these things. You can eat, you can do this, you can like, it's not counting against you necessarily as it would in Ramadan, but like you don't necessarily have the need to, or you don't feel the need to. And I think just being able to celebrate that and like having like this one day, again, of also community, it's a really nice feeling. And just like a reminder to continue with these good habits as the year goes on, or try as hard as you can to do that.
So in Kazakhstan, there's a popular belief that if you are going to be like, what's the point of being the perfect person for a month when the rest of 11 months you're doing not a good deed. However, as girls said, I agree that Ramadan it doesn't mean that you become the perfect person. It's just the month to become a better person. So it's a time when you control yourself, your behavior, and you try to abstain from the things that the perfect version of you would do. This is the perfect time even to start the self-control process, and this 1 month can be prolonged to 1 year, to 2 years, and even more to your entire life. So even the small beginning with Ramadan and after reflecting on your experience during Eid, would actually at the end of the day help you to become a better person on a longer perspective in your life.
Pirapa, I'll ask you guys a fun question. Do you guys still get Idea? For our listeners who don't know what Idea is, it's basically money rewarded to kids and also women, kind of to encourage them or to celebrate that they fasted all of Ramadan and to also encourage them to continue doing that for the next years. Do you guys still get Idea from your parents?
Not from my parents, unfortunately. They stopped giving me that as soon as I turned 13, I think. They were like, no, you're cut off. But when I do go back to Bangladesh, my grandparents always give me some. They give me a little handshake, and then there's one, yeah, hey, yeah.
Growing up for me, yeah, we get Idea. The masjid would give the children little envelopes with a $2 bill. Yeah, and then, but I don't, yeah, ever since I left the States, I don't get Idea.
No, this is not very prevalent in Kazakhstan, so we don't have Idea or giving gifts. So it means basically during only Eid, yes? Not in during Ramadan or during Eid as a gift.
Yeah, it's only during Eid al-Fitr.
Oh.
Not even Eid al-Adha, yeah.
No, unfortunately we don't have that.
I also stopped getting Idea. Obviously when I'm in Egypt, I get a lot from because we all get together and I get from everyone, but when I'm in Qatar, I don't get anything. And also, usually when I was younger and I would get from my grandma and stuff, my mom would take them.
Same. She stole it. She was like, yeah, I'll keep it for safety. Yeah, I never saw that money again.
I'll keep it with you. You don't know where to keep it. And then the money disappeared one day. Okay, now, as we wrap up, I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you to our wonderful guests for sharing their experiences. Eid is a time for love, gratitude, and togetherness, and it's been incredible learning about the different traditions from all around the world. So thank you guys so much. No matter where you are in the world, may your day be filled with blessings and joy, and Eid Mubarak.
Thank you. Eid Mubarak.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of GQ Speaks. We hope you've gained valuable insights and inspirations from our conversation today. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to follow us on our Instagram page at GQ_speaks and be sure to leave a review on Spotify to show your support.